For a long time, and certainly when I started my career as a network engineer, we used command line or CLI to interact with our devices. And in one respect, this was really cool because if you actually knew the syntaxes, you'd have access to a wealth of information from your device and total control over its functions. But as you can imagine, different vendors had different syntaxes, and it was highly unlikely that you can be extremely proficient in all the solutions out there. Then came dashboards, intuitive pieces of UI that allowed you, through the graphical user interface, to interact with your device, configure it, troubleshoot, and look at the logs. The problem with dashboards is that, although very easy to use, they were less flexible because you're using a view that the vendor decided to design on your behalf. As the ease of use prevailed, dashboards are now ubiquitous, even in traditional vendors that for a long time kept pushing for the use of CLI. And we here at Meter want to now evolve this in what we call command, a generative UI interface that will allow you to do pretty much anything, from configuration to troubleshooting to custom dashboards, and give you that flexibility that you might have lost when the CLI disappeared, while maintaining a simple graphical user interface that will allow even people with limited network knowledge to interact with their platform. Let me show you how it works. First of all, I logged into my Meter dashboard. I clicked on the command function and I see that I am able to create notebooks or scroll through already created ones. And this leads me to a very important point, the fact that the admins can actually collaborate together, which comes in use, for example, when troubleshooting a complex problem or when creating custom dashboards. As I'm looking here, my colleague Fran has actually created a few of these dashboards that show the client network utilization, client health, and connection events. And as you can see here, you can reorder them, magnify them, and make this custom dashboard look exactly as you want it. All you need to do is talk to this language model, and the language model will go through the available data and plot things as you want. And this is something that we built in-house that only knows two things: networking and meter, making it not only very fast in responding, but also very accurate. So as opposed to utilizing a very large language model and having sometimes random results, we decided to actually go the opposite way. So let's see what else we can actually do with this. Let's say somebody comes and says they have a problem with their device, but you don't really know if that is network related or not. All you need to do is use natural language to ask what was the problem with, let's say, Paul's PC over the last week. I need some bullet points. And as you see, that just in a matter of a few seconds, the UI is now showing me a few possible problems that I can check. I know that DHCP is not a problem, but it does frequently disconnect. So let's find out what SSID does Paul PC usually connect to. Okay, and the Meter SSID performs well. So as you can see in this example, it is very easy for you to start troubleshooting. Another thing this is very useful for is configuration. So for example, I can say create a VLAN, name it test DIMI number 345. And just to reassure you, it's not going to go and create it and all of a sudden I'll realize that I brought down the network. It's going to give me a form which I could drag and drop on the other side of the screen with not only the things that I asked it to do, I create a VLAN, but also multiple other settings that I might have or might have not thought of adding. And once I'm happy with it, I can click submit and the change happens. And this is very important because it means that we will still require a network engineer to make sure that everything is fine before committing any change. And you can do so in bulk as well. So for example, you can add 10 access points. What I like about this is that we can do a bulk change, create these 10 access points, and give them the proper name as well. For example, starting with AP1 all the way to AP10. Back in the day, when you have to do all these changes, you had two options, right? You either click 10 times in the UI, or if you are programmatically inclined, you can use the APIs to create some sort of script to make your life easier. But now, with this, we actually offer you a third option, which is not only less resource intensive, but much faster. Last but not least, this ability to create dashboards on the fly and visualize what you want to see as opposed to what we think you want to see. It's also very important. So as you see here, it created a couple of dashboards that I could use. So I can filter to them, start deleting, highlighting whatever I need, and then sharing with the right team. And that wraps it up. So we have the CLI, which very powerful if you know. We have dashboards that are easy to use, but somehow limited and not flexible. And now we have command using just plain natural language to allow you to interact with your network, to configure and do changes in bulk, create custom dashboards, and troubleshoot issues.